This video is about solutions of a system of equations, and so this means that we're looking at when we have two linear equations and how do we know there is a solution to that system. There's three things that can happen, so let's look at some examples to understand this more. So the first example, so when we have a graph of a system, that means we have two equations on the same graph. So let me just draw those out for a minute. So here's an example of one. We want to know what type of equations these are. Excuse me. And so these are called consistent. A consistent system, because this means that there is a solution. Now, what does it mean to be a solution to a system? That means that it crosses at a point. That means there's one x and one y that work in both equations. We're not really worried about that right now. We want to just look at what kinds of solutions do we have. And so the first one is consistent. Next example. Same thing, draw out our Cartesian coordinate plane and have our two linear equations on there. And in this case, this type of system is inconsistent. And it's inconsistent because we don't have a solution. Notice that these two lines happen to be parallel, and so there is no place that they cross each other, and therefore it is an inconsistent system, meaning that there is no solution. And last example. This one, we're going to use algebraic rules of equations to predict the solution type. So we don't always want to have to graph them. We want to be able to tell without graphing what type of solution we are going to have. So here is our system that we're going to look at. So how do we determine if we have a consistent or an inconsistent system? And the main thing is we go back to our understanding of parallel and perpendicular lines. As we saw in the last example, those lines were parallel and therefore there wasn't a solution, it was inconsistent. So how do we tell if lines are parallel? Well, that means that they have the same slope. And so in this case, we just want to look at their slopes. So in order to do that, we need to get them both into y equals. The second one is there, so we know that the slope of this one is 2. But we need to solve this one to be y equals. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. So we have y equals negative x minus 4. And anytime there is a negative, remember we can put a 1 there. And so its slope is negative 1. So we compare those, negative 1 and 2. Those are not the same, so these are not parallel. And because they are different means that we are going to have one solution, means they're going to cross since they have different slopes. And this would be a consistent system. That's it for this video. As you work through the lesson, if you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher. Have a great day.